Hi, everyone. Welcome to launching an event-led growth strategy. I'm so thrilled that you've joined this session. I'm Camille Arnold. I'm part of the marketing team here at Cvent and host of the Checked In podcast show. And I will let my friend introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Camille. I'm Joel Harrison. I'm founder of B2B Marketing. You may know us running the B2B Marketing Awards, B2B Marketing Ignite, the ABM conference. We do a lot of training. So we're a big events user as well. And like Camille, I'm a podcaster these days myself. So I have a podcast called Trust and Influence in B2B. We're talking about lots of issues around this. So delighted to be here. It's great to be presenting with Camille.
So glad you're here with me today, Joel. All right, let's get into our agenda for today. So we're going to start by defining event-led growth, or ELG, as you'll hear us refer to it today. We will talk about the key benefits and share the research and real-world examples of how companies with an ELG strategy are simply outperforming those not practicing event-led growth. We'll also be sprinkling in some polls for today, so make sure you have your mobile app downloaded and open so that you can answer those polls, submit your own questions, engage in the chat, and then access this presentation. Okay, with that, let's just dive right in and define event-led growth. So if you're not familiar with the term, event-led growth is a go-to-market strategy that uses events as its primary customer acquisition and retention channel. So whatever your goals are, whether it's connecting with buyers, educating customers, training employees, or maybe building an engaged community, events, when done strategically, will help you accomplish those goals. And we believe events are more powerful today than ever before, especially compared to other go-to-market tactics. When you think about the need that customers have today for connection and inspiration, especially in this post-pandemic world. So Joel, talk to us about the power of event-led growth from your perspective.
Well, I think it's fantastic that you guys have formalized this as a kind of framework and a strategy, because I see the power of events every day, right? Not only in the job as a founder of a business that is a large part of what it does is run events, whether that's large-scale events or kind of like more tactical events like roundtables and VIP dinners and more immersive events, but also as someone who spends his daytime basically analysing the B2B market and done a lot of research into the entries into the B2B Marketing Awards, and also just out and about in the market. And you can see they've never been seen. I don't remember a time where there's been more events happening, no matter what category you're in. It feels like the pennies really drop. That interpersonal FaceTime is so powerful, particularly, as Reggie was saying, in a world right now where digital is exploding and AI content is enabling that, and it's just becoming a bit overwhelming for people. So they kind of want something that's more resonant and more impactful, and that's where these face-to-face events, like you guys are here today, right, are really having much more impact. So you can see that, I mean, this slide really demonstrates where you are. I mean, the power of event-led growth, we kind of being a bit, the challenge that we see in terms of what marketers are facing is the need to be commercial. So at B2B Marketing, we have this kind of notion of the commercial marketer, lots of content built out around that. And it's all about driving revenue and driving growth, because that's what marketing needs to do to be successful and to be recognized and to be respected and play that strategic role in the organization. And wherever you're trying to play, wherever your pain points are, and they're probably all of these things, events are very powerful. Whether you're at that kind of creating demand stage, whether you're just looking to identify and get to know people at a very first level, bringing people together in face-to-face is very powerful. I expect there's lots of you here who are at that stage with Cvent. You probably don't know Cvent before, but you're trying to get to know them and understand what they do. It's also then extremely powerful, obviously, if you're looking to take that relationship to the next stage, or you're looking to get people to engage with sales and have a relationship and start a serious conversation. Obviously, an event is a brilliant place to do that. It's unparalleled in its impact in that respect. And then finally, and this is the bit that we sometimes forget and sometimes gets ignored, because once you are a customer and you're looking to retain them, or better still, grow them, events are incredibly powerful there, because we know how expensive it is. It's a cliche. It's incredibly expensive to get a new customer. It's much cheaper to get to expand on an existing one. And events are a very powerful way to do that and build that brand and build that relationship and all those connections over time. There's nothing like events to do that.
Yeah, truly.
So as you'd expect, as you'd hope from any respecting organisation, Cvent done some research and done some thought leadership to really understand the trends that are going in to make event-led growth such a compelling topic right now. And the results of that, we're going to share some of the kind of top-line findings from this. I think the results are really validating.
They are.
In terms of showing that this is really hitting the market and hitting the nose of what people actually need right now. And so They polled 1,000 marketers across B2B and B2C, and we're looking at particularly people who have actually got to that top pinnacle of what event-led growth actually is. And if you're curious about that, don't worry, we're going to explain all that later on. We're going to go into that in detail. And the first thing that the data demonstrated was that 72% of people who are at that ELG level can see that events are their most effective marketing strategy, right? So that's the thing which is driving most growth for them. So if you do it and you do it well, it pays off for you. That's really important to know. But I think if we can go to the next slide, actually, I think these data is probably a bit more resonant, a bit more important.
Yeah.
And the first one here, as you can see, again, companies that are actually doing ELG, 31% of them, 1 in 3, report a 20 to 30-day decrease in sales cycles for their events. And that is massive, right? Can you imagine going to your sales director or your CFO and saying, hey, we just shortened the sales cycle by 30 days. That's extraordinary. The power of that is incredible. In a particular in a market like today, where there's a lot of uncertainty around, if you can drive that success closer and make it faster, time to revenue, incredibly important.
It's huge.
And then the last thing is that, again, those companies that are doing LG properly, well, 80% of them, near enough, met their revenue goals every single quarter. So you're going to be the CFO's best friend if you can say you did that every quarter, right? Marketing is going to love, sales, finance is going to love that.
Yes, they will.
So, but it's not just around marketing benefits that I think this is resonant, and I think there's 4 other areas. And the first thing is, number one is ELG will promote internal collaboration. Now, as we're going to talk about later on, you will have to have internal collaboration to get off the ground with this. So it's a fundamental, but also it's a cause that's also a consequence. If you do it right, it will better connect marketing with the rest of the organization. And we know, if you've ever been to a B2B marketing event, you'll know that one of the things we talk about all the time is that sales and marketing are misaligned. And it's a perennial battle to get them aligned. It's not just about sales and marketing being aligned, it's about sales and technology and sales and finance and all kinds of areas. That alignment is, to do LG, it's cause and consequence of better alignment, and that makes an organization better and better integrated. So number 2, the second one, I'm a content guy, so I love this, right? ELG requires you, enables you, demands that you create better, stronger content with strong points of view. If you're going to put on these events, you need to have the content to support that and back that up. It requires you to create that, but also then it allows you, enables you, requires you to deploy that, repurpose that in different formats for different events at different times. And it builds your narrative, essentially, and that's what organizations don't do as much as I think they should do personally as a content creator.
Yeah.
So ELG is really powerful at that.
I agree.
So, and the next one, this is stating the obvious, you might say, but it's really powerful, right? It enables you to reach the right people at the right time. So we're all used to operating in the world of B2B marketing where a lot of the activity is going on below the radar, kind of in dark mode, you might say. People haven't raised their hands and let themselves be known to the sales team. And it's getting worse because forms are disappearing, because content needs to be put in front of the gate because of AI. So more and more of that journey is happening without you being able to see what's going on. So, but what events do is they require that person to put their hand up and turn up and be available then for a conversation. So it's a massive tipping point, a very critical tipping point in terms of that buyer journey. At that point, you can start talking to them. You can engage them in a completely different way than you could before because they've turned up, and they've turned up knowing, and they know they're not going to turn up if they don't want to buy, they're not interested. So vital. And the last one, of course, it drives better business outcomes. It drives revenue, it drives growth. And that's what we're looking for right now. So the other thing that the data that Cvent created from this survey was they're looking at the event strategy that most companies that hadn't migrated to a fully ELG program, most of them, their events program were orientated around a large flagship event, right? A single annual conference. And that's great, right?
They're critical, absolutely.
We love conferences, don't we?
We love conferences. We love Cvent Connect. It's a major brand-defining moment, right?
And we have B2B Marketing Ignite, and we have the ABM conference in 2 weeks' time, quick plug. So, but actually what the data showed is that if you're doing ELG, you may have an annual event, but you also, more importantly, have a much more diverse set of event activities that you're doing that run all year round, right? In different cadences, to different segments of your customers, different locations potentially. Right. Cvent's based in the US, but you're here today to talk to a UK or EMEA audience. So it's a more diverse set of activities and more fragmented and more tuned into those different segments. So that's the difference between those not doing it and those who are doing it.
Right.
And I think that we're going to talk now. We want you to tell us.
Yeah, we'd love to get our first poll launched. So get out your mobile app and let us know what types of events are you running most often. I will share from our side that we have a wide range of events that we execute here at Cvent. Probably the ones that we invest in most frequently frequently are going to be our trade show activations, webinars, and then product seminars and workshops. But I'm really curious to see where all of you are landing. If you will humor us and let us know what types of events you're running most frequently, and we will take a look at these results.
There's so many people voting right now, the computer can't cope with the amount of traffic.
It's crashed.
It's crashed, exactly. So please tell us what you're doing. Please don't, I don't know if we can get the data on screen at all. Can we see it on screen? No? Well,
what types of events are you running most frequently for B2B marketing?
Well, we do our annual flagship events, right, which we do, as I've just spoken about. We've got our B2B Marketing Awards event coming up. But also, underneath B2B Marketing as an umbrella, we have a peer-to-peer community called Propolis. And within that, we have a different cadence of events that we run. And we run VIP dinners. We run immersive events called Swarms, which is, Propolis is a word relating to bees.
Okay.
So there's the link there.
I love it.
It's the resin that bees use to build their hives, right?
Okay, didn't know that.
We didn't want to go too heavy on the bee metaphor. But we bring our customers and our prospects together to learn from each other, to learn from the experts in the room, and to demonstrate the value of the community. And we also do webinars and online training as well. So we have, exactly like you say, we have a different cadence of activities and events going on at the same time.
I love that. Well, while we're still back to the poll results, thank you for humoring us and getting your responses in. Joel, talk to me about the ELG prerequisites before you get started building your strategy.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, Camille. So there's some foundational things that you're going to need to do ELG, right? So we're going to try and talk to you about what this looks like and what this means. And the 4 foundational things are on screen now. The first one is measurement, right? And these aren't necessarily a surprise. Measurement is obviously critical in any form of marketing and any form of events. Sure. But to do ELG, it's more than just the kind of basic metrics such as event registration or event attendance. It's a much deeper level than that. Again, it's got to be aligned with the next one, which is your attribution. Attribution is a thorny challenge in B2B marketing, always has been, always will do. Attracts a lot of controversy. It does. Lots of different opinions.
Comes up in every single conversation I have with other marketers, I promise you.
And they're always joyful conversations, aren't they?
Truly.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Very cheery.
But we can't dodge it, can we?
We can't.
So it's got to be done, and the key thing about this is it has to be aligned to the revenue objectives that you're doing. And you're going to need to demonstrate attribution to prove this strategy and to become the CFO's best friend, which you all want to do, I'm sure. Now, the third thing is we need the right tech. And this is Cvent's a technology company, so you're not surprised we're talking about this. And we know that you can, but it's any form of marketing transformation will need technology to support it. We know that in things like marketing automation or CRM, you can get down a certain way down the track using more basic tools and platforms like spreadsheets. But sooner or later, you're going to start hitting log jams or roadblocks. And actually, I would say from experience of talking to marketers, you're likely to get yourself into more of a problem if you start down the right road using the wrong technology, then just accept the fact that you're going to need this from the outset and you can get the right stuff in at the beginning. And that's, again, based on a lot of conversations I've had over the years about marketing-led transformations. And the last thing, we talked about this before, internal alignment. You need the right people on the bus, as somebody once said. And I think we're going to talk about these in more detail now, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. So I will say that if you can't commit to those prerequisites, the hard truth is that your organization might not be fully ready to embrace event-led growth. But if you can commit to those things, consider this your official push to get started modernizing your approach. And in terms of building your ELG strategy, the next big steps are going to be identifying your business priorities and setting your goals. So let's unpack this a little bit more. You'll want to start by asking, how can we use events to make a business impact? And the thing is that answering this question with your company's leadership's input is going to lead to a far more effective strategy than trying to answer that question alone or in a vacuum. Because as Joel said, event-led growth is a team sport. So find out what those top business priorities or challenges. Are you trying to grow your database or maybe increase engagement within a certain segment of your audience or database? Maybe you're really focused on sending better quality leads to sales and accelerating pipeline or trying to increase sales velocity and help sales close deals faster. Maybe you want to get people to adopt a certain product or service or turn customers into brand champions who renew and expand at a higher rate. The key is to think through how your events might help solve those challenges and then design event programs with specific goals that tie back to those priorities. And my warning to all of you is that skipping those first crucial steps means you're going to risk perpetually struggling to prove the very real and tangible value that events can have for your business in terms of fueling business growth. So let's go ahead and get our second poll launched here today. If you have your mobile app ready to go, let us know what your primary business objective is that you're trying to achieve through your events. And Joel, I'm curious, what are you focused on for B2B marketing today? What would you say is kind of your top 1 or 2 business priorities?
Well, that's a really good question. I think we always want to accelerate pipeline in these current environments, right?
Who doesn't want to do that?
Who doesn't do that? But particularly when sentiment isn't as good as it might be. And obviously, as I discussed earlier on, the other thing for us is in terms of increasing product and service adoption. You want to get people using the community and all the things that go with it. So those are 2 important things for us. But we have our own flagship events as well. So we're just looking to build the community and get them to come together. So there's the other answer as well here. But lots of these are very resonant. They're all commercial objectives, right? They're all about ultimately driving revenue.
They're all very noble. And the reality might be that you might have several competing priorities that your leadership has asked you to focus on. And so even more reason to lean into an event-led growth approach where you can really invest in those diverse set of event programs like Joel talked about to make sure you're meeting the needs and expectations of all the different segments of your audience and meeting the needs of your business at the same time. All right. So Joel, talk to us about these next few steps of building an event-led growth strategy.
Okay, so once you've identified your priorities and set your goals, the next thing you need to do is to map your programs to the buying journey and personas, right? And I think what hopefully is coming across quite clearly here is that this is just a new strategy, right? A new strategic approach to events. So by definition, there isn't a one-size-fits-all, right, that you can do. You can't just take something off the shelf and apply it to your organization. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, right? It would be not easy if it did. So the thing you need to do is the key thing, as ever, but particularly in this situation, you need to understand the needs and expectations of the buyers. Whoever it is you're targeting, that could be different kinds of stakeholders or kind of influencers, and you need to build your mixed event programs to reflect that. So that's the first stage. And then the next one is, again, we talked about it earlier on, we need to make sure you have the right technology. And so we said this, it's obviously an important part, it's a big decision. Camille's going to talk through in detail what this actually looks like.
Yeah. So when we talk about repeatability, what we're really talking about is the need to templatize execution so that you can easily create and replicate events as frequently as you need to. And we see some of our customers executing thousands of events per year, some even up to 8 per day on a global scale, which is really impressive. And when you have that kind of repeatability, you will unlock speed and agility. And that means reduced event setup time from weeks or days to hours and minutes. And as marketers, we all know that time is money. So it also means the ability to launch an event with little to no help. So you can say goodbye to those long queues for support from creative or marketing operations, and faster speed to lead, which is critical in today's buying journey. And all of this leads us to our next requirement, which is visibility. So what we're talking about here is data visibility, getting the right data at the right place at the right time customized for the right people. And the right platform is going to make your event data accessible and actionable for all of your internal stakeholders. Finally, whenever we talk about scale, we absolutely have to address the need for compliance and democratization. Because without the right technology, when you lean into democratization, and that is making it possible for anyone in your organization to create and execute events, without ensuring compliance, you risk rogue events that actually do far more harm than good to your brand. So we've mentioned integrations a couple of times, but there are several that provide material impact, but the 2 non-negotiables are going to be integrations with your CRM and your marketing automation platform. And these systems dictate how you attribute revenue growth to your events and report on that success. Okay, Joel, can you do me a favor, please, and talk through these next final steps?
Of course, sure. So The next thing is get to ELG team together, right? And I think we mentioned a few times, hope we've landed this message, it's not something marketing can do in isolation, it's very much a team sport.
Absolutely.
And as I said, I think you really need to, it's a course of alignment, it's a source of alignment as well as alignment being an objective from it or an outcome from it as well. So who do you need to get on board? Well, the first thing is probably anybody with the word operations in the title. So marketing operations, sales operations, revenue operations, business operations. You may have one of those, none of those, or all of those, but they need to be part of this, right?
Yes.
Depending on your organization. You're going to need to get the creative and design team involved as well, obviously, because they're going to help you to make those many events you'll be doing look beautiful and be consistent and aligned and all those kind of things. And working with designers is a different sport than working with technologists as well.
Yes.
He says euphemistically. And then the other one, obviously, anybody customer-facing needs to be part of this. And that obviously means sales and customer success. We want to get away from the place where we're having random acts of events that are driven by sales wants a golf day, that kind of thing. So they have to be on board with the bigger strategy. So that's really critical. And the last thing, and there are probably others, but the last most notable one is, and this might be frustrating, but it's a truism, we've got to have the finance team involved. They've got to understand what you're doing. You've got to communicate them all the way along the line so that you can demonstrate what fantastic success you're having.
Yes.
So you need to assemble your team. And then once you've assembled a team, you need to develop your budget, right? And you can't do any marketing without a budget. You can't do any events without a budget. You probably could, but they probably wouldn't be very good. So we're probably going to need to get some money behind this to make this actually work.
I think so.
And it would be lovely, it'd be wonderful if this strategic transformation could happen at exactly the same time as your planning and budget process. But let's face it, real life doesn't happen in a perfect scenario.
It might not line up perfectly.
It might not line. So you might have to adapt an existing budget scenario to this way of operating. And I think the key thing here, we need to be pragmatic. The key thing is to allocate your budget appropriately based on the ROI aligned with your growth goals. So it's all about growth, it's all about demonstrating revenue and showing success, and the two things have to be aligned. Otherwise, we won't get awfully far. And then the next point is to establish a programmatic calendar of events. So we've talked about the fact that you have a budget and you're going to have events that are going to be repeatable, and you need to develop a cadence of program of different activities that work for your different segments, audiences, and locations. And they may have to also align with other things that are going on in the wider market, or in your product team, for example. So
product launches, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you need to build this calendar event so that you can see how that's going to land and how it's going to work across your activities. So that's around the budget or around the calendar. And then lastly, you need to build playbooks. Because Camille was saying, you're going to repeat events, right? Whether or not it's going to be next year or next month, you're going to repeat them. So the more you can, this requires detail and focus and thought to get this done, but it's incredibly powerful, and it'll enable you then to be able to repeat those things and to provide clarity to those other stakeholders in terms of what they're expecting to be done. And it enables you then to learn from previous iterations and be better and run a better event next time. So very powerful to build this playbook. And the last one is you need to, of course, report on your success frequently. Because this is going to work, this is going to be great if you do it right, and you need to make sure that everybody understands what it is you're doing, what impact you're having on the business, and then can help you then double down or increase your commitment to that and go from having a really great start in ELG to being excellent to being best in class. Because that's what we're all looking for. So at this point, you're probably saying, okay, great, I buy it. What does it actually look like in reality? Unfortunately, Camille is here to tell us that in more detail.
Thanks, Joel. Yes. So with years of testing and validating through Cvent's own event-led growth strategy, and of course, 25 years of supporting thousands of customers and their efforts to unlock event-led growth, we've synthesized an ELG Maturity Framework that breaks down the process of going from no strategy to one that's considered best in class. So you'll see it breaks down across 6 categories. So we've got audience targeting and reach, channel and content optimization, engagement and insights, technology and analytics, brand and partner ecosystem, and of course, ROI and attribution. Now, this is a lot to take in. I'm going to summarize it and then give you a takeaway assignment if you're up for the challenge. So at stage 1, as you can see, we've got no strategy. That means there's no real targeting of your audience, no consistent metrics, and no unified tech stack. Stage 2 is where most companies start, though, thankfully, because stage 1 sounds like a nightmare to me. So stage 2 means broad segmentation, basic metrics, and really one-off event execution. By stage 3, you're starting to coordinate across channels. You are collecting a lot more attendee signals, and you're starting to connect event activity to revenue funnel conversions. Stage 4 is where things get really interesting. So you are using events as multi-channel campaigns. You've developed proactive feedback loops, not only with your target audience, but with your internal stakeholders. So you really know what's working and what's not working. Furthermore, you have an optimized tech stack, which means your tracking and reporting is finally starting to work seamlessly, and you are really starting to prove the value of all of your events. Now, stage 5 is considered best in class and our most advanced level. You have advanced segmentation, you have hyper-personalized content across all of your events and experiences, you have AI-driven analytics, a unified brand ecosystem with strong partnerships, and again, maybe most importantly, multi-touch attribution. So you are really able to prove the full impact of your total event program. Now, if you think that you fall into stage 1 or stage 2, don't stress, because the point is not to judge where you are. It's really just to give you a roadmap. Because if you are at stage 2 today, I would ask you, what's the one area you think you could invest in to help your organization elevate to stage 3? And that's how you start moving your strategy forward. So I'm curious, I know that was a lot to take in, but of those 6 categories, I'm curious if we can get our final poll launched here. What is the biggest priority that you think your team needs to address after today? Is it around the audience targeting or channel and content optimization? Maybe you really don't have a handle on engagement insights. All right, so we're seeing our results roll in here, and a fair number of people so far, of those of you who have answered the poll, are saying that audience targeting and reach and ROI and attribution are the 2 biggest priorities. What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. It's the beginning and the end of the process is where there's most challenges. And that's fascinating, because and I often find in B2B marketing, I was talking about this just yesterday, so often those early stages, the targeting parts of it, they're the bit that we kind of gloss over a bit, just going to rush through those, that'll be fine, don't worry about it, because it'll all come good in the actual communication. But it's rubbish in, rubbish out, trash in, trash out, or however you describe it in the States. The more time you can focus on that, the better. Yeah. So we'd love to hear anybody else has got any, we'd love to keep on voting, we'd love to see if any other of these ones come through later on. It's just very evenly split right now. What do you think?
Very interesting.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, okay, even more. Okay, so so still majority of people falling into that ROI and attribution as biggest priority, but also others saying technology and analytics.
They're in the right place.
You're in the right place, folks. That's right. Well, thanks for humoring us. Hopefully this is getting your wheels turning to figure out some next steps. I'll just say, wherever you are on your journey of event-led growth, if you're just getting started or you're looking to level up or just want to make sure that you have a truly sophisticated ELG motion in place, take this event-led growth maturity quiz. First of all, it's free to take, it's pretty fast, and it will give you the insight you need to assess how event-led your organization is today. And then from there, you'll be empowered to make a plan to get to that next level of maturity, which will be a win for your organization and a win for your career. So you can scan this QR code, take the quiz, or you can visit our resources page on cvent.com and find it there. And lastly, before we wrap, I just want to share our strategic certification course on this very topic. It's the Event-Led Growth Masterclass, and it's designed to teach you how to build a revenue-generating event strategy. It features 18 on-demand video lessons, so you can take it at your own pace, anytime, anywhere, and it will give you the blueprint in far more depth than we were able to cover today, so that you can learn actionable skills to measure, analyze, and optimize your event performance. And we do have a special code for you for attending Connect. So you can use Connect 100 for 100% off at checkout. Really, truly, this is a no-brainer in my opinion. Great for you, great for your team. And I want to say thank you all for joining this session. It's been an absolute pleasure to walk through launching an event-led growth strategy with all of you.